There's a time not long ago when a video game would have a release date and bam, that was it. The game was finished. No updates, no patches, no more fixing problems. For the developer, this meant that there was not really any second chances and that their game needed to work on that release date or there was nothing they could do. And for a long time, most games did just work. Of course, there were some exceptions of just bad games, but for the most part, you could expect a game from a main AAA studio to work. This isn't to say that there wouldn't be glitches here or there or exploits people would figure out, but you could expect that you were getting the full finished product when these games were released, and that the average player would not experience game-breaking bugs or glitches. And then consoles gained the ability to connect to the internet, and these expectations started to change. All of a sudden, updates and patches could be made for an already released game, allowing developers to fix mistakes left in their games, which in itself seems great. But little by little, the standard of what developers were willing to release seemed to be lowered. Soon, the day one patch would be expected for pretty much every game. And more often, we would see games from big established AAA developers being released in an incomplete state.
There you go. And then you saw there when the spell went, it really dropped again. What happens next? Well, Bethesda have said through Pete Hines, their marketing guy, that they're working on a patch for all known issues across all formats and that they're aware of some users having this PS3 lag problem.
The most recent, obvious, and glaring example is CyberPunk 2077, a game that was developed for the PS4 and Xbox One generation, but didn't even work on those consoles. And even on high-powered PCs with the ability to handle the game was still kind of broken, with glitches everywhere, game-breaking bugs, dumb AI, and all around just unfinished. CyberPunk 2077 is the epitome of the all-too-common trend nowadays of a studio releasing their game early in order to please investors, all while hoping consumers won't get too mad at the bugs that they'll try to fix with more patches later. While it may be valid to point out that games are much bigger projects these days with more advanced technology and more ambitious projects, it doesn't excuse being willing to release an unfinished product. And it's not like games back in the day weren't ambitious. Look at something like the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, a 3D game wherein almost all other games on that console were 2D. And guess what? It worked. Or look at the beloved Super Mario 64. This was Nintendo's real transition into true 3D, and it was one of the first games for a new console. And yeah, there were small glitches here and there, most notably the backwards long jump, but this was not something that the average player would discover on their own. Even though there was another version of the game release that took out the BLJ and Mario calling Bowser gay, most of us Americans still probably have the original version and could go back and play the original version that came out on release day without experiencing any game-breaking bugginess. Now let's look at current games. Diablo 3 just didn't work when it was released. Batman Arkham Knight had huge frame rate issues on PC. Mass Effect 3 had a patch to change its ending because it sucks so much. Dragon Age Inquisition would freeze on PS4 and had trouble just launching on PC. Battlefield 4 unplayable online. Any Bethesda game ever, especially Fallout 76. Anthem was a graphic novel of different loading screens when people first tried to play it. Mass Effect Andromeda had to patch animations, Destiny only made the game fun with DLC, No Man's Sky had to be retroactively updated for years before it came close to resembling what they promised when marketing the game. Server issues for so many online games, CyberPunk, the list goes on and on and on. It's to the point where it's not even safe to pre-order a game that has reviews out, like me pre-ordering CyberPunk after seeing good reviews, not realizing they hid the PS4 version from reviewers. It's come to the point where developers will lie about the state of their game, and unfortunately I don't see this type of thing going away. But it has put some other game studios in a more positive light and given me a bigger appreciation of the game studios that I've learned to trust. Those studios that put out a quality product every time where you can just buy a game and play it and have it work. To those guys I say thank you, because I can no longer expect a finished product just because it comes from some big well-known studio.